Good day, ladies and gentlemen. It is I, your Alpha Senpai, here with the first actual playthrough, or the start of the first playthrough, on this channel. I decided I wanted to do a game I've been wanting to play for a while. The only reason I've been doing this, or wanting to do this, is because I've been playing a shitload of Doom, and this game is very similar to it. This game is Heretic, Shadow of the Serpent Rider. It is the first of the trilogy of the Serpent Rider games, or the Hexen games, as you might know them as. This is the one that came first, like I said, and it's very different from Hexen in terms of gameplay. This game is a lot more like Doom, and as a lot of people like to call it a Doom clone, and you'll see throughout the playthrough for various reasons why that is. That being said, I really like the atmosphere of it, and I've been wanting to play this for a while. So, without further ado, let's get this bad boy started, shall we? As you can tell, one big difference between this and regular Doom is Doom has 4 episodes if you're playing Ultimate. This one has 5. So we'll start with City of the Damned, the first one. And we're gonna play the medium difficulty because we don't know this game too well. Alrighty, let's go. And as you can see off the bat, start out with what looks like a magic wand as your primary weapon. This is kind of like your pistol weapon in Doom. You'll find weapons that greatly outclass this throughout the game, but it's what you start with. And one of the things that's interesting about this game is the inventory system. That's something that is unique to this game and was carried over into Hexen. You can carry, as you can see, a variety of items in your inventory to use. What I picked up is a quartz flask. This allows me to heal myself up upon command. The one thing that's interesting, though, is that this was included, like, as opposed to other FPS games at the time. Sorry, I was trying to think of how I was going to say that. It's interesting, because this is a very unique concept to the FPS game, and other games would eventually adapt similar things like this. Think of games like Duke Nukem or Shadow Warrior. And, of course, the Hexen games pick this up, too. So we have our first key in the first level. I'm also going to keep you in mind that I don't know this game very well. I've played through the first 4 levels, and the only one I really know is this one, so don't expect this to be like a 100% completion or mastery of this. And oh my god, there's someone behind me. In case you couldn't tell so far, the atmosphere is much like, you know, Hexen's, as in it's a very, you know, fantasy, medieval, demon-styled atmosphere, whereas Doom is, you know, hell on earth. Let's go ahead here and pick up our weapon. The gauntlets. These look like they're shooting out lightning, right? And this is pretty much one of the first examples you're gonna of a weapon that pretty much copies what Doom does. Let's see right here. Yeah. You can see it pretty much locks on and attacks very much the same way that Chainsaw does in Doom. It's very obvious that it's doing that, so it's probably using the exact same code. But they're not chainsaws, these are gloves. And another thing that's interesting is a lot of enemies can actually attack you while you're doing this. In Doom, a lot of enemies would get stun-locked or pain-locked when they were hit by the chainsaw. In this game, not the case. So that might have been something they added or fixed or intentionally did, but it's whatever. So in this level, we're just going to see a lot of basic enemies, kind of like you would see in any ordinary FPS game. You get introduced to your standard arsenal. Bad guys. Arsenal's not even the word that makes sense there. I apologize. Alright, another thing. Secrets! This is, in fact, a game from the 1990s that's an FPS. There's plenty of these lying around. It's one thing that I do like about this game and a lot of games from this time period is they take a lot of time with level design and have a lot of intricacy and a lot of places you can just explore. And later levels, I'm sure, are going to get as complex as Doom's do, so that'll be fun. Alright, so now we have our second real gun in the game, the ethereal crossbow, which you can tell is way better than the wand. This kind of reminds me of, you know, the shotgun in Doom. As in, it spreads and it's a more powerful weapon. But unlike Doom, we fire projectiles for the most part, and oh my god, that thing. One other thing I need to point out about this game is it introduces stronger enemies early on in the game. is something Doom doesn't really do. Like, those guys are actually surprisingly powerful. So, before we go to the end of the level, we're just gonna heal up with our quartz flask, and boom. Level number 1 is complete. The docks. Depending on how long each of these levels or whatever it goes will probably determine the length of the videos. So, we'll just go ahead and enter the second level real quick here. Alrighty, and we'll save just for safety. Yes! Okay. Another point I need to make about is this music. It's for, you know, it being MIDI stuff, like, you know, Doom. The music is pretty atmospheric. It does a pretty good job for the most part. It's not necessarily as memorable as games like Doom, but it does the job, which is what counts, really. So off the bat, we're getting tons of enemies. That's another thing one thing I want to point out about this game. Sorry, I keep pointing out various things and comparing them to Doom. Doom likes to throw out a lot of enemies that are very random. These ones are random as well, but because they're flying and often attack at close range, they're not immediately a threat. In later parts of the game, though, enemies start getting new attacks and it gets scary. So the game I do with this level is, there's a lot of, like, exploring. You have to get keys to open certain parts of the doors. And also, that's another thing, traps! Where's that enemy? Looks like an enemy. Yeah, it's an enemy. It's just hidden in that wall. But it looks like a trap. Those things, however, do a lot of damage, so we are going to get as far away from that as possible. Right, I'm just gonna grind through these bat things. I don't actually know what the real names for these enemies are, so bear with me. Alright. Ah! Go away. So, I want to make sure that we have a torch in place of Tome of Power. That way, in case I accidentally hit the use key, I'm not, you know, wasting my Tome of Power, which is a really awesome power-up. You'll see it used later on in the game, I'm sure. What it is essentially is it's a power-up that pretty much multiplies your firepower and the strength of all your weapons. So, like, the crossbow will fire, like, 12 different bolts, and so on and so forth, and other weapons will just become generally powerful as well. Speaking of weapons, we're about to get our third weapon in the game. Already, we have 3 weapons. This is the Dragon Claw. It's not nearly as cool looking as it sounds, but it's pretty useful. But it's odd. When I think of something like a Dragon Claw, I think of, like, fire, I think of, like, a melee weapon. This one shoots like a plasma gun. It's kind of odd, but what are you gonna do? It's a weapon. And the more weapons, the merrier. So let's get our way in here. Interesting little thing is that there's a small little shortcut here, so you don't actually have to go all the way around. But there's also one of those big axe guys there guarding it, so it's scary to go that way anyways. Usually it takes like 3 straight crossbow hits to kill those guys, so... yeah, you don't want to try and fight them with the wand. You want to try and avoid using the wand once you get more ammo, because the wand becomes incredibly useless. In my opinion, some others might think otherwise, but I'm not some other people. Anyway, let's open up this door and keep going. Stack up on that dragon. Alrighty, and you see those little ball things? Those are explosive. Those will hurt you. So, watch out. One other thing that's interesting though is you can move them. Like barrels in other FPS games that don't have physics, you can actually push these out of the way. Get the hell out of here. I'm surprised that axe didn't hit me. Another thing about those balls is it takes a lot to actually set them off, not like just a single shot. I'm only using the wand here because I want to save ammo. So I used up a lot in that section. Alright. There we go. Yeah, that is how you get things done. We're gonna take all those quartz flasks because it never hurts to have extras, because this game is pretty hard. It gets pretty hard anyways, once you get into later parts. Or at least that's what it seems, and that's what my experience is. Ah! See, like right there. I'm in trouble. I'm gonna have to back off from this situation because I wasn't paying attention. There we go. A couple of these. And switch to a more reliable weapon in this scenario. Yeah, those guys are all over this. This close quarter section is kind of intimidating. Just because you saw what kind of damage I was getting. Those things hurt. A lot of these enemies just do a lot of damage. So pick up another Tome of Power here. Yeah, we have two Tome of Powers. So, if things get ugly, we have a backup plan. We also have our green key, which means we are pretty much done with this section. Seems like. So let's open up and make our way out. I think that's what it's going to do here. Go away! I don't want to fight you guys. Don't prioritize on the weaklings, prioritize on the ones that are actually going to be a threat. Alrighty, so now we're up here. So, you see that wall there? We can't exactly, like, jump to get to it. So what is somebody going to do? Oh look, this opens up to lead the way out. But, if you're smart enough, ride this shit to the top. So we're just gonna collect everything that's here. Oh, before I forget, I also want to mention that I am playing this on a source port known as Chocolate Heretic. It's pretty much the same. It's pretty much the same idea as Chocolate Doom. It's a source port of Doom, which is what Chocolate Doom is. And Chocolate Heretic pretty much does the same thing, but for Heretic, which is good because playing this on DOSBox without a mouse controls that I have like right here kind of sucks. So that's why I waited so long to put it off. I needed a good way to play this. So as you see, this triggers a dark section, so I'm going to want to use my torch that I picked up just to make navigating around a little easier. Because what we do here in the dark is possible, it's just not fun. So we're gonna make our way out of here now that we have our blue key, which is the last key for this level. And now we need to go back this way. In case you missed it earlier, there is a blue key door here. I can't tell if I'm actually hitting it or not. This game is like Doom, since it runs on the Doom engine, and doesn't have a true Z-axis, so there's no reason. If you aim low, it's kind of hard to tell if you're actually hitting, especially when your dragon claw is protruding out. It's very obnoxious. And it's it's like no weapon is that bad. So, here we are at the exit of level 2. Yes, the dungeons are cleared. And that took a long time. Shit. Anyways, we're going on to the next one, the gatehouse. So here, and we will stop this video for now. I am the Alpha Senpai and look forward to the next part of our Heretic playthrough.